Before the funk rock anthems that defined a generation, there was just Michael Balsry, a jazz-loving kid from Melbourne, navigating youth in the wild world of Los Angeles. In today's episode, we're diving into Flea's memoir, Acid for the Children. If you're expecting a tell-all about the Red Hot Chili Peppers' greatest hits, think again. This book stops where the band begins, giving us an early and raw look into the life of the man behind the iconic bass lines. Hey, it's Matt. Thanks for tuning into Loud Lit. Today we're talking about Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, a legendary bassist known for his funky slap bass sound and wild stage presence. And let's not forget his iconic performances in Back to the Future and The Big Lebowski. With Acid for the Children, he shows us that along with acting and bass gymnastics, the dude is also a good storyteller. And he's a very cool guy. I can attest to that personally. Quick Flea story before we get to the review. It was June of 2012. We were seeing the Peppers on the I'm With You tour at Louisville, Kentucky's KFC Yum Center, possibly the worst venue name of all time. Anyway, my friend's brother's girlfriend's cousin, I know that sounds fake, but it's true, he's the band's touring keyboardist. So we got free tickets and backstage passes. We're watching from the side of the stage, and the keyboardist, Chris Warren, points his cousin out to Flea. So while Josh Klinghoffer is playing the guitar intro to Under the Bridge, Flea comes over and shows her which bass string to pluck after the intro. She hits the note, he goes back on stage, very cool moment. After the show, we all got to go backstage where Chris told us he would go back and bring out band members to say hi. So we met Flea, Josh, and their drummer, Chad Smith. Anthony Kiedis did not come out to meet us, but that was fine because we saw him riding around on a Razor scooter with his kids. There was absolutely no need for him to ditch them for us. The three guys we met were all very cool, very chill. Flea was talking to us about riding his bike in Cincinnati the day before and feeling a little sketched out in some parts. Sorry, Cincy. He also talked about when he said to the Louisville crowd that night that he was tired going into the show, but our energy pumped him up. And he assured us that was not a bullshit stage banter line. He really was exhausted, but perked up within the first couple of songs. So, way to go, Yum Center. It was such a cool experience getting to see for myself that these rock and roll Hall of Famers had not let their rock star status get to their heads. All three of them, especially Flea, were down to earth and willing to have a normal conversation with fans. The show itself was amazing, but the backstage hang was the most memorable moment of that night. And that memory made me extra eager to learn more about Flea in his book, Acid for the Children. Let's dive in. If you're looking for behind-the-scenes stories of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you won't find them in this book. Acid for the Children ends right before the first Chili Peppers show. But don't let that discourage you from reading this book. If you're a Peppers fan, this is a chance to learn about how the band developed through the eyes of one of its founding members. Anthony Kiedis and Hillel Slovak are integral characters in this story, and Flea shows how his friendships with them led to the formation of the creative unit that would eventually conquer the rock world. If you're not a Peppers fan, Acid for the Children is still a fun read that takes a non-conventional approach reminiscent of Beat Generation writing. Like 2-minute punk songs that comprise a compelling full-length album, Flea weaves together short bursts of storytelling into one overarching narrative. Most of these brief chapters maintain the linear nature of his life story, while others are standalone tales that serve only to give us deeper insight into the person behind the frenetic bass lines. Flea, born Michael Balsry in Melbourne, immigrated to New York with his parents and sister when he was very young. Sadly, his parents divorced and his father moved back to Australia. While one father figure was on the other side of the globe, Michael had a difficult relationship with another, his stepfather, Walter. Despite difficulties at home and school, young Michael found solace and confidence in music. Ironically, it was Walter, a jazz musician, who would prove to be an enormous influence on the future rock star. Flea fell in love with jazz. Whatever time during his teenage years in Los Angeles wasn't spent dabbling in drugs or getting into other types of trouble was spent playing basketball or practicing trumpet. In fact, he admits in the book that for many years, he hated rock music. That is, until he discovered that, when done right, rock, especially punk, could be every bit as moving as jazz. Throughout the book, Flea describes the wild adventures of his feral youth, many of which involved Anthony Kiedis. These two would go on to become not only bandmates, but also lifelong friends. Touchingly, Flea refuses to hide his emotions as he attempts to put into words just how special his friendship with Anthony has been. He also offers beautiful tributes to another founding Chili Peppers member, Hillel Slovak, who died of a drug overdose in 1988. Speaking of drugs, as you probably guessed by the title, they are a thread that runs through many of the book's stories. Flea is brutally honest about the highs and the dark lows of his drug abuse. Though he claims he never became addicted to anything, he admits that he is lucky to be alive, having experimented with all sorts of substances, including cocaine via unsanitary needles. Though some of his drug-fueled adventures make for amusing stories, he doesn't sugarcoat the horrible effects that follow. Fortunately, he survived those years and has been clean for decades. Flea is an eccentric, free spirit, and that comes across in both his stories and his storytelling. His writing style is not going to be for everyone, but I think it's worth a try. It's a fun and at times heartbreakingly honest look at the prehistory of one of rock's biggest bands. Thanks for listening to Loud Lit. If you like this episode and want to hear more, please subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review. If you want your own copy of Acid for the Children, click the bookshop link in the show notes. When you do, you'll be supporting Loud Lit as well as independent booksellers. Until next time, keep reading, keep rocking.